The Ontario Visual Arts curriculum requires that students learn about elements and principles of design. Starting at the grade 1 level, students learn that elements of design are the basic building blocks of artwork. They are shapes, forms, colors, lines, textures, and space. Elements of design are to artwork as the alphabet is to the written language. With the alphabet, we can spell any word. With elements of design, we can create any work of art. We can use words to write stories, poems, essays, lists, and more. Starting at the grade 6 level, students learn to use principles of design as guidelines for creating artwork. In the Knowledge of Elements section, students learn to define the principles of design. By using critical thinking skills, students will recognize how other artists have used the principles of design effectively. Through their creative work, students will use principles of design in their own artwork through structured exercises and extensions. We can use an illustration to understand how artists use principles of design. We can enjoy potatoes by baking them, mashing them, or frying them. Therefore, baking, mashing, and frying are methods that can be applied to raw potatoes so that we can use them more effectively. Similarly, principles of design are methods or guidelines for using elements of design. We can apply the principles of design to the elements of design so that they can be used more effectively. The principles of design are balance, emphasis, rhythm, unity, movement, variety, harmony, and proportion. Balance is a principle of design. A feeling of balance results from the elements of design are arranged to create the impression of equality in weight or importance. In The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci, the artist has used the principle of balance by creating a symmetrical composition. The background architecture of the painting is symmetrical, with the figures placed symmetrically within it. This is known as formal or symmetrical balance. The artist used balance to create a stable, confident feeling. In Absinthe by Edgar Degas, the artist achieves informal or asymmetrical balance. The painting is divided in half by a diagonal line. Elements placed in the top right area of the painting are balanced with elements placed in the bottom left area of the painting. Although this painting is balanced, the feeling created is not as stable and confident as the feeling created in The Last Supper. Emphasis is a principle of design. Emphasis may be defined as the special attention or importance given to one part or element in a work of art. Emphasis can be achieved through placement, contrast, size, or other methods. In The Creation of Adam by Michelangelo, the viewer's eyes move along the outstretched arms of the figures to the point where the fingers almost touch. The uncluttered background around this area ensures that the viewer's attention is strongly focused on this point, also known as the stress point. Therefore, Michelangelo has achieved emphasis through the placement of objects in his painting. In School of Athens by Raphael, the artist draws the viewer's attention to the central figures that have been placed symmetrically within the architectural features of the painting. Also, the artist has used perspective to achieve emphasis by placing the vanishing point behind these central figures. Take a look at a self-portrait by Rembrandt and a portrait of Saskia with a flower, also by Rembrandt. The artist draws the viewer's attention to the faces and hands by making these areas dramatically lighter. Everything else within the painting seemed to fall into shadow. Therefore, Rembrandt achieves emphasis through his use of contrast. Rhythm is a principle of design. Rhythm involves the repetition of elements to create the illusion of movement. Take a look at this series of trees by Piet Mondrian. In this series of paintings, the artist often focused less on the likeness of the tree and more on the repeating shapes and directions of the branches. Therefore, Mondrian used the principle of rhythm. In this painting called Broadway Boogie Woogie by Piet Mondrian, the artist achieved rhythm through repeated shapes, lines, and colors. This painting suggests the rhythm and movement of a busy city street. In this painting called Nude Descending a Staircase by Marcel Duchamp, the artist used the principle of rhythm to create a feeling of movement. Unity and harmony are both principles of design. Unity is the coherence of a work that gives the viewer the feeling that all the parts of the piece are working together. Achieving harmony involves the use of similar and compatible elements of design to achieve a feeling of coherence in a work of art. Many ask, what is the difference between the principle of unity and the principle of harmony? These two principles of design have very close meaning. Both principles of design involve elements that are working together to produce one coherent work of art. The principle of unity can be compared to singers who are singing in unison. All their voices are singing the same notes and the same words to give their music a coherent feeling. Likewise, artists can achieve unity by using one element throughout a painting. For example, an artist may use one smooth texture throughout a painting to create a coherent feeling. The principle of harmony can be compared to a group of singers who are blending their voice in harmony with musical notes that are different but compatible. For example, an artist may achieve harmony by choosing a family of compatible colors and using them throughout the artwork. Look at these paintings of poplar trees by Claude Monet. The artist achieved unity by using strategic color throughout his artwork. The same color that is found in the sky at the top of each painting can also be found in the water or textured foreground at the bottom of each painting. In A Sunday Afternoon on the Island of La Grande Jatte and in Bathers of Acier by Georges Seurat, the artist achieves unity by using a texture. He uses tiny dabs of paint, known as pointillism, throughout his artwork. Look at these paintings by Henry Rousseau, entitled Woman Walking in an Exotic Forest, Combat of a Tiger and a Buffalo, and Scout Attacked by a Tiger. The artist created a coherent feeling and achieved harmony by using similar and compatible colors and shapes throughout his artwork. These are paintings by Victor Vasarely. The artist created a coherent feeling and achieved harmony by using similar and compatible colors and shapes throughout his artwork. Movement is a principle of design. Movement is the way in which the elements of design are organized so that the viewer's eye is led through the work of art in a systematic way. In Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh, the artist directs the viewer's eye through the painting by using directional brush strokes. Therefore, the artist has achieved movement through the use of texture. Take a look at this sculpture called The Discus Thrower. Note how the viewer's eye moves along the curved limbs. The artist has achieved movement through the use of carefully placed shapes. Variety is a principle of design. Achieving variety involves the use of differences and contrasts. Here are 3 examples of still life paintings by Paul Cézanne. In each painting he has repeated fruits that are similar in size and shape. Note how the artist has achieved variety by changing the colors of each fruit so that no two are the same. Proportion is a principle of design. Proportion may be described as the relationship between objects with respect to size and number. Often there is a close relationship between mathematics and art. For example, artists sometimes use the golden section to determine positions and size relationships among elements in their artwork. Therefore, the golden section is sometimes used to help artists with the principle of proportion. The golden section, also known as divine proportion, can be described as a ratio of 1 to 1.618. The golden section can also be applied to a sequence of squares, where the side of the next square, moving clockwise, is equal to the two sides that came before it, as shown. To draw the golden section rectangles, follow these steps. Start with a square. Mark the center of the bottom side. Draw a diagonal line from the center bottom to the top right corner of the square. Using the bottom center as the point of rotation and the length of the diagonal line as the radius, draw an arc as shown. Draw a rectangle adjacent to the square that is the same width as the arc. The proportion of the square to the rectangle is the golden section. The size of the square plus the new adjacent rectangle is the same proportion as the new rectangle. Now divide the rectangle portion into a square plus a rectangle as shown. The proportions will remain constant. One can continue this pattern. To draw a spiral, draw a quarter circle arc from the corner of the square as shown. The pattern can be continued indefinitely. Spirals can be found frequently in nature, as in a snail shell, the shape of a galaxy, a newly emerging fern leaf, and a strand of DNA. Architects have found inspiration from nature and mathematics in the construction of this famous Islamic mosque, in broadly used architectural features including capitals, and in many staircases such as this example in the Vatican in Rome. The Parthenon in Athens, Greece, is famous for its pleasing proportions. The architects used the golden section extensively. In The Annunciation by Leonardo da Vinci, the artist also achieved pleasing proportion by using the golden section. A thorough understanding of the principles of design will equip students to create a broader range of artwork and will help students to appreciate and comment on an extensive range of artwork created by others.